Hi, I'm Chris Maragkakis of Simply Be Retreats and Therapies. I'm a life coach, therapist and podcaster. Welcome to Mindful Mutterings. Please like, share and subscribe. And as always, thanks for listening. Hi, thanks for joining me. So this week I want to talk about letting it go. A lot of our suffering is caused by things that have happened in our past and our unwillingness or our inability to actually let it go. And the initial action that made us angry, frustrated, outraged or upset may have only happened once, but we tend to replay it in our heads time and time again, getting worked up, feeling all kinds of negative emotions and ultimately causing ourselves suffering. And I'm going to say that again, we cause ourselves suffering. And this is because no one else can make us feel any kind of emotion. We choose to feel that way because of our conditioning and the stories that we tell ourselves about how life should be. And when I say we choose, it's because we have made the choice to carry on doing what we've always done. And that is what happens when we're triggered. And so we allow other people to essentially control how we respond and react to the world. So by being mindful, we can choose instead to respond to a situation or to challenge and change what's no longer working for us. And so that's what I mean when I say we choose to continue or prolong our suffering. And so this is kind of what we need to get our head around, is the fact that the past has happened and there is absolutely nothing that you can do to change any of it. So if you feel that you've behaved badly in a situation, then obviously you can apologise, but you can't undo what you did, and you can't make the other person accept your apology or even forgive you. And by the same token, if you feel that someone owes you an apology, obviously you can ask them for it, but again, you can't make them apologise, and even if they do, it won't change what they did. So ways that you can start to move on from there is to firstly accept what has happened. It's done. There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. So the quicker you find acceptance, the easier you'll be able to move through the stages. 2, look at what you can learn from the situation so that you don't have to experience something similar again. 3, try to accept that actually we're all human beings doing the best we can with the skills that we have. And sometimes what other people do may cause us pain, but often it's not done deliberately or consciously. It's just a byproduct of what they're going through. 4, examine and challenge our emotions and beliefs that we have surrounding the issue so that we can make peace with it and begin to let it go. And 5th is just to understand that actually we've been through an experience or something has happened and we can become more from that experience, so we can treat it as a learning experience. And another thing that tends to cause us suffering is thinking that things should be different to how they are. For example, say someone speaks to you rudely and you're hurt and you're outraged and you think, wow, they shouldn't speak to me like that. Who do they think they are? And then we spend our time feeling righteous and we're trying to get everyone else to agree that they shouldn't speak to us like that. And we go to our friends, oh, so-and-so said this to me. Oh, it's wrong, isn't it? They shouldn't speak to us. And your friend goes, no, they shouldn't speak to you like that. It's irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. Even just because when we do this, it makes us feel slightly better about the situation, all it's doing is masking and prolonging the situation because nothing has actually changed. We just end up feeling that we've been justified in being angry or upset, and potentially we take additional actions. The reality of the situation is that regardless of what you, your friends and your family think, this other person was rude to you and you still now have to choose how you're going to respond to that. So then you can start to look at how much time and energy you could have saved if you just went from being outraged to stepping back and planning a response, as opposed to being triggered and then needing to be proven right by your peers. And that all sounds very civilized and, in an ideal world, that's how we'd all behave. But how do we start to do this? Well, obviously, this is me. So the first thing we have to do is be mindful. When we're monitoring our thoughts and our behaviours, it's easier to work out which ones are causing us pain. And once we've identified it and brought it into the present moment by accepting it as our thought or emotion, then we can begin to challenge it and we can start to see if it's a true belief that we have or if it's a belief that we've been conditioned by someone to believe. And then we can start to work out how much of it we own and what we want to change about it or let it go. So another strategy would be to view things through what Byron Katie describes as the 3 types of business. So she says that we have our business, which is everything that we think, feel, believe and do. Their business, which is everything they think, feel and believe and do. And then there's God business, and for this you can apply the figurehead of your choice, but essentially everything else comes under that remit: war, famine, life, death, the weather, flash floods, everything. And what she says is that you're only unhappy when you're messing about in someone else's business. And when you stop and think about it, you can see how clear this is. For example, when you're saying she shouldn't do this, or they shouldn't be sick, or it shouldn't flood, the reality of the situation is that these things are happening. And so what you think about them isn't going to change them. The only thing that you can do is work out how you're going to respond to them and change your mindset so that you're no longer suffering. And when I say that, I don't mean that you shouldn't be, appalled and upset by floods and people living in terrible situations, but instead of getting outraged about it, work out what you can do to help and be practical and come up with a solution. And also when we're applying this to people, we don't know what they've been through. We haven't lived their lives. We don't know what they need to learn in this life, and we don't know what experiences they need to go through. And so how can we possibly know what they should or shouldn't be doing? And should and shouldn't are such inflammatory words anyway, because they imply that something should be different to the way they are. They could behave differently. They could, in our opinion, live better, but that's not our place. We are not God. And so to keep ourselves happy and focused and to be the best person that we can be, we need to stay firmly rooted in our business. So when you can then see how it's going and you can accept what's happening, you can then start to learn from it and work out the best way to respond to it without causing additional suffering to anyone else. And also, once you've started to make peace with it, then of course you can start to let it go, because you're not identifying with the pain that you're feeling around the issue that is causing you suffering. And it's the same with pain that you've been holding on to from the past. So guilt and blame will not change anything. You still need to address the root cause before you can move on. And instead of blaming someone else for what happened, once you take responsibility for your part in the situation, and by that I mean challenging the expectation you had of the issue and asking yourself maybe if it's fair or reasonable, and taking responsibility for how you view this person. I mean, it may be that you're constantly expecting a person to behave in a way that they're just not capable of, or you're expecting a situation to be anything other than it is. And so then it's not them that are disappointing you, it's that you're expecting too much of them, and so you're always going to be disappointed. So instead, you can lower your expectations, or you can change your expectations and accept the personal situation for what they are, with all their imperfections, and let go of the outrage and the pain that this idea of that you think they should be different is causing you. And the expression that what you focus on you create is so true, because when you're focusing on anger or pain or suffering, you'll find that more pain and suffering will be attracted into your life, because it's the way that you carry that through your life and the way that you interact with other people and the energy that you're giving off. It tends to have a life of its own, and so you're perpetuating the misery and the pain and the struggle that you're going through because you can't make peace with something that's happened. And so when you can start to resolve something, when you bring it into the present moment, when you start to challenge and change it, that's when you can change your energy, and that's when you can change your mindset, and that's how you start to control the situations that go on around you. And having the courage to challenge your beliefs, and alongside with the compassion to accept people as they are without wanting to change them, coupled with the wisdom to know when to ask for help, that's when you begin to free yourself from all that exhausting emotion. And in doing so, you'll create space for new positive people and opportunities to come into your life. So, I mean, as Elsa says, let it go. You're just causing yourself pain when there needn't be pain. And also, there's a whole world out there, and you've got a whole future ahead of you. Let go of the past so it doesn't control your future. So as always, thank you very much for listening. And if you feel that you would like to work with me, or you want to talk to me about something that's happened, or you just want some more information, then most of it is on my website, simplybe.org.uk, or obviously get in touch, and all the details are on the contact page on the website. But whatever you do, have a lovely week. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. Take care.